Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a video here for a book that I've been kind of eyeballing. Since it popped up on Amazon as a recommendation, I think it had either just come out or something. But apparently this is a manga that had just started being published in like Viz or Shonen or whatever in like 2023, and they brought it here like it's going to be the next big thing. And it very well could be, because I keep seeing reviews for this book everywhere. But it sounded right up my alley. You know, I'm the kind of person that I really like shonen in general. I love Dragon Ball Z. I'm willing to try One Piece. I bought the first volume of One Piece. And, you know, I grew up on like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z, like I said. I like tournaments. I like Yu Yu Hakusho type stuff. So the constant fighting and whatnot with good characters is right up my alley. And every once in a while I get one that I can't get into, like Attack on Titan or My Hero Academia. I've tried a couple of volumes of, and I just don't like it. It's controversial, I know, but still. But this book here is called Kagurabachi. Kagurabachi? I don't know. Maybe one day I'll be able to find out how to say it. But this is volume 1, and the art and the story itself are done by Takeru Hakazono. Yeah, I'm sure I fucked that up too. I've been looking forward to this. Walmart had both volumes for like $9 a piece. I grabbed volume 1 because I'm trying to be a smart shopper nowadays and not buy physical copies of things that I may or may not like. I only buy physical now of something that's like a driving video game that I'm sure I'll probably dig. Or obviously things I love like Dragon Ball Z stuff and, whatever. You get my general gist. But this one sounded really appealing back when I saw it on Amazon. And I'm glad I went ahead and tried it out because it really, in a lot of ways, despite the flaws, it really landed in a lot of ways. I just finished it a moment ago. It's your average size volume, about 200 or so pages, somewhere in there. Basically, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like a little bit of a fantasy in modern day Japan setting, if you will, if not like a 2000s setting because they're using flip phones for some reason. But essentially, the general gist starts back when our main character, Chihiro, is a kid, like a younger boy, like maybe a preteen, like 12, I think, 11. And he and his dad have this kind of, not really a strained relationship per se, but Chihiro doesn't really have a personality, right? And his dad is training him on how to be a swordsmith. And apparently his dad, by the kind of swords that he made once upon a time in a big war that happened, is kind of viewed as a hero, but also like a threat from other bad guys out there. Not that his dad is a bad guy, but you get what I mean. But he was basically leaving behind a legacy on the kind of swords he made that won this war. And apparently there were like 7 swords, I think, in total. One that was kind of for him and his son Chihiro whenever he would be born, but 6 other ones, and they're all enchanted with some kind of spell, and apparently that's what made them so special, and was kind of the secret to winning the war. And I always thought that reading up on this book, the kind of secret magic spell swords sounded really cool as an idea, and so I'm really glad I jumped in because that part of the story really delivers for me. Now, about 3 years later... Well, we basically have the dad get murdered. Not on screen, interestingly enough. It's kind of done off screen a little bit when some guys are getting ready to go kill him in front of Chihiro. But we cut to 3 years later, and a family friend, a neighbor or whatever, named Mr. Shiba, who's kind of like an uncle type of character to me for our main character, Chihiro. He kind of quits his job and sort of kind of raises Chihiro, sort of kind of. You know, it's that kind of, again, uncle-nephew relationship, and I kind of like that, what's happening here, but ever since Chihiro's dad was killed, and pretty much all of the swords, except for one, the main one that his dad had built for himself, are all stolen by the guys who killed Chihiro's dad. Chihiro's going out for vengeance. He has a scar on his face from the day that his dad was killed. It, kind of traumatized him. He's even less personable and friendly than he was before when he was a teenager. And he just wants revenge, and Mr. Shiba's kind of helping out with that. And eventually he encounters a little girl named Char on the midst of looking for these missing swords. Now, I'm not a big fan of Char. she's just kind of a kid character in the way. Think of like if you had this concept as a movie and they threw in a kid character to make kid audiences kind of, throw themselves into the theaters to watch the movie that should be more R-rated. That's kind of what this is like. And so, at least right now with Volume 1, I'm not really a fan of Char, but Sheba and Chihiro, I really like as characters. I think they're very well settled. There's kind of like a big bad villain that's slowly being set up by the end of the book that may have one of the swords named Sojo, and he's pretty awesome. He's one of those things that will absolutely drag me to read Volume 2. I don't know if I'm going to buy a physical copy. I'm going to see if I can see it on the Libby app from my local library and see if I can borrow it before I buy it. But man, this was a good first volume setting up this series. I really dug it for the most part, but it does have its issues. Number one, the book itself feels kind of choppy, if you will. And it's not because it's manga, obviously. I've read a million manga. It's nothing like that. It's just the way it's formatted and the way we kind of cut back and forth between timelines, and not in traditional, non-linear, sort of linear ways that we do in any kind of media. Japanese or American, for that matter. It's not like that. If you read Volume 1, and I assume, even though I haven't watched a single review for this book, I just keep seeing them pop up everywhere on YouTube now that I've started looking for this volume and reviews to put in my playlist for work, I would be willing to bet that every review will say the same thing, and if they don't, they're not being honest. Some parts of it, I can't tell if it's a translation issue or what, but it feels like it's a little choppy. It's kind of jumpy from scene to scene, from page to page, panel to panel, and I don't really like that about it. However, again, the overall concept, the overall idea, this is a really nice kind of setup for what we're going for. The other interesting thing, too, the volumes of this book series are throwing themselves onto the shelves. I think Volume 5 is going to be out like January, something like that. I think Volume 3 is already out. I think Volume 4 is getting ready to come out by September, so I may take a couple of these. If I end up buying them or finding them from the library, I may take some of these on vacation with me, just to kind of get into them more. But I really want to know more about Chihiro, his revenge quest, the enchanted swords, and what kind of abilities they have, because they're kind of strange. Like, Chihiro pulls out his sword and, like, whispers a word. I think it's N10, if I remember correctly. It sounds like Ben 10. And, like, fish show up and kind of swim around him, which is now a big part of the issue I have to bring up. One of my biggest complaints about the book already, and I'm hoping that since this artist is kind of new as a creator, I'm hoping that he will improve more and more, like I've seen some manga artists do, and kind of learn on the fly, but also improve. Hopefully, right? One of my biggest complaints is the fact that the fight scenes, there's a lot of fights in here, there's a lot of blood and killing, and it's freaking awesome. If you love swords killing people, and most of the time not even directly, the spells that enchant this sword Chihiro uses are really what kill people. Like, he can slash and everybody across the room just falls into parts, you know what I mean? Like Legos or something. And I really like that about it. But the problem is that, like a lot of manga art, especially when I read Volume 1 of Attack on Titan years and years ago, like 12 years ago, what I hated about Attack on Titan and this book is that it is so closed in to the action that you can't see what the fuck you're looking at in black and white. It's not because of the art style. I mean, it kind of debatably is, but it's because we're zoomed in too close to the action. They need to pull back a little bit, move the camera back a good few feet, and then the picture of this would be great for these panels. I really mean that. And again, I think in future installments, I think it's going to improve if I had to bet. I think this volume has like 7 or 8 chapters in it, something like that. But I liked what I read. Again, story-wise, totally down. I'm in for the revenge stories. I love a good revenge story, especially ones that are kind of like neo-westerns, kind of like this feels sometimes. I like Chihiro. I like Sheba. I feel like Char could get better in the future, but maybe not. But Sojo looks like a badass villain, like I said. The art's nice. I like it. I like the character designs, the costumes, especially Chihiro's costume as an adult, or a grown or young adult, whatever he is. I really like that. I wish Chihiro had more of a personality. It's kind of a serious book, not as serious as Death Note overall, but it's got a less jokey tone than what I'm used to with manga. But I don't know. Maybe they're just really trying to set up some kind of tone that's not really working right now. But that can change too. Berserk does that sometimes as I read more of that. By the way, I'm on volume 10 of Berserk in case anybody gives a shit. I read so much of it there for a while that I just stopped doing the reviews. Forgive me. Maybe one day when I get caught up, I'll start doing more videos on that. But still, Kagurabachi, or whatever this is called, is a cool read. I recommend it to the right person. If it seems interesting to you, if the general concept sounds cool, if the cover looks cool, which I think it's a really nice cover with the red and black here, check it out. You know, like I said, but I would borrow it if I could. If you have a friend who has it or a library who has it, borrow it. Don't buy it just yet. It's cool. I feel like there's a good chance if it's not already the next big thing, it probably will be at some point. I would not be surprised if there's a big manga series, or anime series, being adapted from this yet. But if there's not, there probably will be. And I think that'll probably be better and probably fix a lot of the problems that I have with that kind of camera zoom with the panels and stuff. The action and stuff will be sick. I really think people will dig that. So I'm kind of interested to see what other people think down in the comments section about Kagurabachi, or however you say it. Volume 1. Let me know what you think about it down below if you have read it. Do you plan on reading more? Are you going to buy the other books? Let me know all that down below too. Who's your favorite character? Yeah, I would love to hear what people have to say. So anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.